So for tonight's homework, we're continuing to think about fractional parts and how those apply to a number line or how those apply to whole numbers and how fractions are between 0 and 1. So for each of these, you're going to use both the fraction and the number line to help you. So for each one, you're going to label the tape diagram, which is the traditional fractional parts that we've been used to seeing. And then you're also going to label the points on the number line. So I would start with the fractional pieces because that's probably what you're most familiar with and your child's most familiar with. So if we look together at A, the thing that can get a little confusing for kids is they see 4 lines on the number line and thinking that the fraction is going to be out of 4. But if you look at the tape diagram here, you can see that it's broken into equal parts of 3. So this, we want to remember that the tape diagram, or the number line, I should say, starts at 0. And then we see each of these is worth 1/3. So this line here is going to be 1/3. The second box is going to be 2/3. And then the final box you can write as a fraction 3/3 or 1/2, whichever is easier because those are equal, of course. So what you're asked to do next then is circle what this fraction is equivalent to. So here we see 1 out of 3 is shaded, so we would put a dot or circle this portion of the number line. So use the fractional parts to help you first, and then label. Remember, every tape diagram, every number line should start at 0. So the first fraction should always start at this first tab on the number line. So part 2 is something that we've worked on in class. We want to show equivalent fractions using a number model. So in this case, on A, we know that it was 1/3, and B was 2/6. So your student should write these numbers. 1/3 is equal to 2/6. And then they're thinking about how the multiplication works to get there. So they're asking themselves, what am I multiplying 1/3 by, or 1 by to get 2, and 3 by to get 6? So if they think about that, they recognize that it should be the fraction 2/2. So the number model then becomes 1/3 times 2/2 is equal to 2/6. And that's what we did. We took each part up here and broke it into 2 equal parts. So this 1/3 that we saw up here, this distance, was broken into, if we look down here, 2 equal parts. And then we see this is worth 2/6. So that's the multiplication model. The fraction model from 1A to C, we're going to work the opposite way. So we know that 1/3 is the fraction in the first problem, and we can see that 4/12 is the problem here. So we're going to ask ourselves, how do we divide to get to this? So asking yourselves, what do you divide 4 by to get 1? What do you divide 12 by to get 3? It's like this one going to be the same number because to make equivalent fractions, we have to use fractions equivalent to 1. So it's going to be the same number over itself, and that's the fraction you'll divide by.